Well, it's official. The worst fear of Boston Celtic fans came true today with the announcement that Jayson Tatum had undergone surgery to repair a ruptured Achilles tendon. Yeah, it was what we all had thought about last night that it seemed like it was an Achilles tendon. After reviewing the replay of the injury several times, I came to that conclusion because he didn't step on anything when he fell to the ground, even though he was holding his ankle. I felt that it was an Achilles because he was holding the lower part of it and he didn't step on anything. So that led me to believe it was an Achilles tendon. This is a huge blow to Boston Celtic fans. It's amazing how your luck in this league can change instantaneously. I would say probably 2 weeks ago, Boston fans were thinking about going back to back and then possibly having a three-peat with this young core of having Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Derek White, that they had a team that would be good for the next 3-4 years to go on multiple title runs. And now it's gone in the wind, as they would say, that they'll definitely not be repeating this year. And it's doubtful if they'll win another championship with this current group now when it comes to who will be back, considering how their ownership did not want to pay further luxury tax. There will be no justification to keep this team together. So it'll be interesting to see what moves Boston makes this summer. I don't believe they'll trade Jayson Tatum because his value is not going to be high right now due to the Achilles tendon. With that being said, my question is will Jayson Tatum be able to recover fully from this injury and play at the level he's been playing at prior to the injury? So I would say one thing that Jayson Tatum has going for himself that's good is that he had this injury when he was young, in the sense that he's only 27. He turned 27 about 2 months ago. So he's a fresh 27, which is good because in a lot of cases, the guys who got these injuries were all in their 30s from what I've researched. And that played a huge role in why they had a hard time becoming the player they once were to regain that ability. But I think with Tatum, it favors him that he's in his 20s. He's still young, so I do believe he can have a full recovery where he's playing at the same type of level he was playing at prior. Now, I've researched some guys who've had the Achilles tendon. The most recent notable one is Kevin Durant. He had the Achilles tendon injury when he was 30 years old in the NBA Finals back in 2019. But one thing to take note of is that Kevin Durant was just a few months off of being 31. So he was about close to 31 when he had this injury. And I didn't think he would fully come back from it since he was in his early 30s. This is like why I think Tatum for a huge reason will come back, because Durant really shocked me. He was out for a year, obviously, after this injury. He missed the whole entire 2019-2020 season. But then when he came back to play for the Nets, it was like he was the same exact player he was prior to the injury. You look at his numbers, 26.9 points per game, 53% shooting overall from the field, 45% from three. That was his first season with the Nets. He was putting up these same type of numbers when he was at Golden State. There wasn't really much of a change. He was still very efficient, and he remained to be like that for the next few years. I think Durant was still playing at a high level from, I would say, fall of 2023 until the fall of 2020. So I'm going to say again, he was playing at a high level from the fall of 2020 to, I would say, the fall of 2023. So he had a 3-year run where he was still playing at a high level. And even today, you can say he's still playing at a high level when you look at his stats. To me, it's more like the eye test when you watch him play today. You can see, despite putting up good numbers, he's not the player he once was. He's not as mobile as he once was. His defense is not as good as he was, but he's still a highly efficient player. He's still a great scorer in this league. So that shows you that you can really come back from this injury today. I think Durant had a special type of surgery that they did on him, and a special type of recovery procedure in which he followed to a T. I remember him saying that he just followed exactly what was the plan for the recovery, and it worked out very well for him. So I think Tatum has that going for him. Another guy I looked at who had this injury in the past was Dominique Wilkins back in the day. What's interesting, when he had this injury, he just had turned 32. So he was freshly 32 when he had this injury. It was in January of 1992. And I found this very interesting that Dominique came back from his Achilles tendon in record time, even for that era. Like, this guy came back the following season. He played the next season and only missed 10 games. So, but he had the advantage of getting it torn in January, so that allowed him a long time to recover. I think that gave him, like, 11 months or possibly a year. So he didn't really miss much time. But this guy came back with a vengeance, and his numbers when he came back were actually better than the prior season in which he had gotten hurt. So, and he was not really young at that time. He was like 32, and when he came back, he was 33, and he was still able to play at a high level for like 2 more years, and then he pretty much started to decline. But even at old age, I remember with Dominique, I remember that one year he played with San Antonio, his numbers were pretty good for a person of that age. So Dominique had 2 more years of playing at a high level after that injury, but you had to keep in mind he came back at the age of 33, so 33 to 35, and then he suddenly just rapidly declined. Tatum, when he comes back, he's going to be 28 years old. So he has that going for himself in that regard. The only guy I would say in recent history that never fully recovered from his injury was Kobe Bryant. But when Kobe got that injury, he was a few months off of being 35. So it was just normal. He wasn't going to bounce back from this. And I would say the other guy is Klay Thompson. But Klay Thompson was also in his 30s when he got the Achilles tendon injury. He got it a year later after his ACL. So we knew that he was just never going to bounce back. But I think Jayson Tatum has a lot going for him, like I said, in the sense that he's still young, and there's guys recently that have recovered from his injury, like Kevin Durant, in which he can use as a blueprint to get back to that level. I think after the Tatum comes back, I would just assume he probably has 5 more years of playing at a high level. That would be my guess, that from 28 to 33, you'll still see him playing at a high level. That's what I would wager on. So I think he will come back strong, but it will be interesting if the Celtics ever will be able to win another title with him. I think that's a better question to ask, depending on how they construct their roster now, because I feel some of these guys won't be back now due to their new ownership. I think Porzingis will be gone. Jrue Holiday will be gone, and there'll be some other moves. So that's more interesting question to me. But I think Tatum will be back to being an all-NBA player when he comes back from his injury. I think he'll follow the recovery process to a T. He'll do everything he has to, and he'll be back being the same player he was. I think technology's gotten better today, and they made a lot of progress with this. So I expect him to be back. It's going to be tough for Celtic fans. Next year is a throwaway season for them. I think personally the Celtics should just tank next year. They shouldn't really try hard. Have Jaylen Brown take some time to recover from his bad knee. Even have him get some knee surgery or get that thing scoped, whatever it is that's bothering him, and just have him sit out a significant period of time. That's what I would do personally. But that's all I had to say.